Welcome to another episode of Tales from the Pennybloods. This one entitled The One-Handed Lady, based on a short story that Calder Campbell published in the Keepsake magazine in 1843. It features one of the first werewolves in British literature, but it has other supernatural surprises as well. Our cast includes Carl Bengston, Summer Braley, Jonathan Brandt, Haley Carpenter, Scott Davis, Raymond Mankey, Clive Marlowe, Shannon Stevens, Camden Van Leeuwen, Eric Van Leeuwen, Felina Van Leeuwen, and Julia Warren. Raymond Mankey engineered and mixed the show, which Arnold Anthony Schmidt wrote and directed.
Summer comes late to the stately hilltop home nestled in the rural countryside of the English Midlands. The picturesque landscape extends in every direction. Here and there, a few sheep and cows standing at ease in the gentle sun. This is the home of Henry Tamber, who happily shares it with his sister Cecilia, her husband Charles, and their little boy William. Behind the large stone house lies a beautiful garden, where Henry and Charles construct a trellis for the climbing roses that rise high among the constellation of flowers. Nearby, Cecilia putters in the kitchen garden devoted to vegetables and herbs. Charles and Cecilia smile as they watch their son run past and play, then share a more serious look as they address Henry.
A beautiful day, Henry, is it not?
Summer is finally here, and all nature rejoices.
Nature may rejoice, but for me, there can only be sorrow.
Oh, come now, Henry. It has been almost 2 years.
I buried my joy on that fearful mountain, Charles. Where Lillian has gone, I hope soon to follow.
Soon? Perish the thought, brother. You're a young man, with your whole life ahead of you.
Oh, she's right. It's true, sorrow has hit you hard, but death comes to us all. Until it does, we must live and at least try to enjoy the time that we have.
If only that were possible. My poor Lillian.
Henry thinks back to his honeymoon, days which began so happily, so full of promise, until...
Are you warm enough, my dear?
Yes, of course. When my friends stuffed their trousseau with fancy dresses, I filled mine with outdoor clothes suitable for hiking in the Swiss Alps. It's always been my dream to honeymoon up here.
It is beautiful, and I must confess, I love the way the mountain air and exercise color your cheeks, far more than the stuffy atmosphere of London ballrooms.
Though I do miss the music sometimes.
We shall hear plenty of music when we reach Vienna. Have no care about that.
I know, and I'm in no hurry. Our time in Switzerland has been magical. I love being so close to the glaciers. It makes me feel so free. I simply want to run off and touch them.
I know what you mean, but you mustn't. It's dangerous this time of year.
Oh, don't be silly, Henry. I only want to feel the icy cold on my fingers.
Lillian, what are you doing? Don't leave me.
I'll never leave you, Henry. You know that.
Come back. I tell you, come back.
Not until I feel the glacier.
But we're in avalanche country, don't you remember?
I'm almost there. It seems so mystical, the way it gets colder as I approach the enormous wall of ice.
Stop. You mustn't. Not so close.
I'm almost there.
Lillian, look out.
Oh, Henry!
Lillian! Lillian, where are you?
A tortured expression comes over Henry's face as he relives these tragic memories.
She is gone. They never found her body. Not even a grave where I can mourn.
Oh, Henry, you mustn't torment yourself. You must let her go.
Just like nature blooms after the darkness of winter, you yourself must go on.
She is never absent from my thoughts. It is in vain that I strive to forget her.
Not forget her, no, never. But
Now I can only think of her as she perished,
surely, brother.
frozen beneath that fatal snow.
Oh, Henry, I loved your bride as though she were my own sister, and I miss her smile every day. But you couldn't save her.
I could have died trying.
Then you'd be gone as well.
So much the better.
How can you say that?
Oh, leave me alone with my heartache.
As Henry walks off, Cecilia tries to grab hold of his arm, but her husband shakes his head no.
Let him go, my dear.
Only he would listen. This melancholy is destroying his health. If he's not careful, he'll follow his young bride into the grave.
I think that's what he wants. But we must give him something to live for, a future to hope for.
Uncle! Uncle! Play with me! Play with me!
Oh, William, my dear boy.
Perhaps our son has the answer. He's the only one who can make Henry smile.
Yes, I think he holds the key to his uncle's heart. And who knows, perhaps someday Henry will have a boy of his own to love and care for.
With the coming of autumn, business concerns force Henry to part from the idyllic solace of his family's estate and travel to London.
Must you leave us, Henry? Your health is only recently returning.
Yes, playing with William always makes me feel better. But I cannot put off leaving any longer. I must go immediately.
I know you have responsibilities, but I wish you wouldn't go. Just now.
Why not? What's wrong?
It's silly, I know. It's only that I have this feeling of foreboding.
Cecilia, you're white as a ghost.
It's nothing, probably. I've been having this dream.
Come, my dear. You mustn't worry Henry with your dreams, just as he's going away.
But it's not just any dream. It's the same dream, over and over. I think it means you're in danger.
Danger? Bah.
It's a dark forest. You're there, and William too. And something else. Something hunting you.
Hunting me?
What is it?
I can't clearly make it out. But it's some kind of animal. Something large and ferocious. Like a wolf.
A wolf? Well, I know the wilds of London will be different than my simple life here in the country, but surely it won't be as dangerous as all that.
No doubt I'm being silly. Still, you will be careful, won't you?
Of course.
And no matter what, remember you must come back to us soon.
I'll return as quickly as I can.
But that is not to be. Autumn turns to winter as Henry meets with solicitors and accountants, untangling his family's business affairs. Still, Henry does not devote all his time in London to business. Once reacquainted with the social scene, he seeks out old friends and makes new acquaintances. Soon, he is quite the man about town, enjoying himself for the first time in years. It is at one of the season's dazzling balls that he meets her.
Why, here's a sight for sore eyes. Delighted to see you back in London again.
Hello, Richard.
Henry, old man, good to see you.
And you too, George.
I hope you'll stay with us a while.
It could be. You know lawyers. My affairs seem bound to keep me here until spring.
Topping, my boy. It'll be like old times again. But what's this?
Who is she?
Who indeed? It can only be Francesca, Marchesa di Polioni, dressed in a fashionable, if exotic, gown. Attired in the finest fabrics, adorned with jewels, she wears her long, dark hair pulled back to reveal the pale profile of a beautiful face. Though her clothes stand out amid the splendor of those gathered, her hands attract the most attention. Every eye in the ballroom focuses on her single-gloved hand. The long, slender fingers of her bare right hand and the silk glove of her left both sway gently at her sides as she glides into the ballroom. Everyone present studies her with fascination, the men with admiration, the women with awe at her seeming power.
That's the Italian Marchesa. People call her the one-handed lady.
How strange, but how beautiful.
Yes, beautiful and fantastically wealthy, but also distant and aloof. Every man in the room desires her, and she rebuffs them all.
But come, Henry, we must get you some refreshments.
Yes, of course. Oh, but she is very lovely.
The excitement of seeing old friends and dancing with new acquaintances takes Henry's mind off the past. After a few hours, though, he leaves the main ballroom and seeks the solitude and fresh air of a ground-floor balcony. From there, he looks into the garden. At first, he believes himself alone. Then, he hears voices and notices two figures in the darkness nearby. He can barely make them out, but as the moon peeks from behind a cloud, he recognizes the Marchesa, and beside her, a stranger, arguing.
How dare you speak to me like that?
Serpent and dupe, I will no longer help you. I can no longer be party to your terrible deeds.
You call this loyalty, after all I have done for you, given to you.
Done for me? I wish I'd never met you. Never gotten ensnared in your wicked schemes. The things I've seen, the evil things I've done.
Go, then. You are no longer of use to me.
You think you could cast me off like that, as you did the others? Pay me, I say, or else.
I will pay you nothing.
Those jewels, those pearls, give me what's coming to me.
The stranger rushes at Francesca, trying to rip the jewelry from around her neck.
Let me go!
In a flash, Henry leaps over the balcony railing and stands beside her in the garden.
How dare you, sir?
Don't interfere, you fool. This is none of your affair.
Leave that lady at once.
A lady? Ha! This is no lady. If you only knew what she's done.
There is no need to intrude, signore. I can take care of myself.
You must let me help you.
Well, that's all for now. But beware, I'm not done with you yet.
Henry tries to grab the stranger's arm, but the man rushes off and disappears along a dark garden path. Henry moves to chase him, but the Marchesa stops him.
Let him go. He can do me no harm.
Are you all right?
Of course. A tiger fears nothing from a mouse. Especially a mouse like that.
Let me help you inside. Can I get you something to drink?
A drink would be most refreshing. But we have not been introduced.
Under the circumstances, I think we can dispense with the formalities. I'm Henry Tamber.
Pleased to meet you, sir. I am Francesca, Marchesa di Polignoni.
Henry leads the Marchesa back into the ballroom. Although she stands quite aloof, he can't take his eyes off her. He stares as though entranced. And when he crosses the floor, he sees no one in the room except her.
Why, Henry, old boy, are you all right?
What do you say to that? He walked right past us. I can't blame him, of course. The Marchesa has taken him in hand.
She seems to have enchanted him.
She is very beautiful.
Yes, very true. But that's not what I meant.
The Marchesa di Polioni certainly seems to have enchanted him. Winter turns to spring as Henry and Francesca spend considerable time together. In fact, everyone gossips about them as a fashionable match, and society expects an announcement of their betrothal momentarily. Thus, it would surprise few to learn that the following scene has taken place.
You will marry me, won't you? You'll make me the happiest man in the world.
Be careful what you wish for, my dearest Henry. I would love you to be happy, but I fear that I, with my gloomy spirits and personal devotions, may not be the person who can make you so.
But I love you, Francesca, with all my heart.
I know you do. For a marriage to succeed, however, people must love with more than just their hearts. They must also love with their heads. And I am afraid that you have the head of a poet, one that resists facing hard realities.
What hard realities?
For one thing, my secret, my hand.
What do I care for your hand when I have your heart?
You must never ask.
Why do you dwell on such a minor detail? I have given you my word. I'll never ask to see your gloved hand, nor even look at it should you ever bear it.
In time, you may come to regret your decision.
Never, my love, never.
And then there are my devotions. As I explained, since time immemorial, the women of my family have observed a series of ancient and obscure rituals, private rituals, ceremonies that no man may see.
I care nothing for all that. Your private life is your own. It's only our lives together that matter to me. I swear that I will not interfere.
Oaths are easy to swear in the heat of passion, but difficult to keep in the cold light of reason.
My feelings will never change.
Very well, then. On your sacred word, we shall wed. But it must be in my hometown, in Calabria.
My dearest.
And finally, I would prefer not being married in a church.
Not married in a church? Why not?
It is an old family superstition. Humor me in this. We can have the ceremony on the church steps, outside.
The place of the ceremony matters little to me, so long as you become mine.
Become yours? Well, we will see about that.
The late spring journey from London to Calabria takes Henry through historic scenes and beautiful landscapes, unseen by most tourists. As the soon-to-be married couple travels south toward the so-called toe of Italy's boot, the sunny land becomes more rural and rustic. When they approach the Marchesa's village, however, the surrounding appears mysterious, almost menacing. Although the village has a church, the wedding ceremony takes place on the steps of a small chapel near the Marchesa's estate. Neither family nor friends attend. During the ceremony, Henry feels joy at starting his life anew with his new bride, but Francesca seems anxious.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered together here today for a happy occasion.
Francesca, seemingly troubled as she stands outside the church, spends most of the short ceremony running the bare fingers of one hand over the gloved fingers of the other.
And may God bless this union, in the name of the Father.
At the blessing, however, Henry feels a shudder rush through her body.
Are you cold, my darling?
It is nothing. It is just this morning chill. I will feel better when I am back home.
But it is not the chilly weather that shakes her body so. Marchesa has explained to Henry before their union, she passes many hours in solitary vigil in her private oratory. Constantly locked, none but she ever penetrates its secret chamber. This leaves Henry many hours on his own, and he wants someone to keep him company and to help with tasks around the property. Although Francesca objects at first, cherishing her privacy, Henry hires Roberto, a local man from the village. Life that summer has become quite routine when, to Henry's delight, Cecilia, Charles, and William arrive for a visit.
Welcome to our home.
It's been such a long time.
I'm delighted to see you all.
Hello, Henry.
Uncle! Uncle!
William, how you've grown.
You're looking well. Marriage must agree with you.
Yes, I didn't expect to fit in here at first. The landscape's so wild, what with the ruined castle and all. But the rural surroundings have really grown on me.
You must take me around, Uncle, and show me everything.
Of course, of course.
Still, such gloomy countryside. And that tower.
Yes, medieval. That section dates to the 14th century, but the tower goes back farther still. It's actually constructed on Roman ruins.
That's amazing!
Tradition says it once served as the site of a temple of Isis, the mystery cult that the Roman legions brought back with them from Egypt, but who can say for sure?
You always had a romantic nature.
I trust you had a good trip?
Quite good. Our ship had fair weather all the way, and the carriage here, though a bit slow at times, took us through some beautiful country. At least, until we got here.
She's right. Seeing your castle's tower in the distance, the overgrown woods and dark hills all around, they have a rather sinister look in the late afternoon light.
Perhaps, but they look verdant and colorful at dawn. I've become quite fond of it all. But Cecilia, my dear, you look tired.
Oh, don't concern yourself with me. I'm only a little faint from our traveling. Some time outdoors in the fresh air will do me good.
Of course. Tomorrow morning I'll take us all out hiking in the countryside.
Yes, we'll have your cheeks rosy in no time.
Still, this place, it's as though I've seen it before.
In a Grand Tour print?
No, nothing like that. It's strange.
So, Henry, where is your beautiful wife? We've heard so much about her.
Yes, where is the Marchesa?
My dear Francesca has truly blossomed upon return to her ancestral home. But here she comes now.
Welcome to you all.
My dear, may I present my sister Cecilia, her husband Charles, and their son William.
I hope you will be comfortable in our home. If you require anything, please do not hesitate to ask.
Thank you for your hospitality.
How can it be? Why,
And now, if you will excuse me, I must go and ensure that your rooms are properly prepared.
Of course. Thank you.
But, Henry, is that really your bride?
Of course, dear sister. Whatever is the matter?
It's nothing, I'm sure. The travel, unfamiliar surroundings.
It's not that. I know this woman. I've seen her face before.
That's hardly possible. How could you know my dear wife?
I do. That's all I can say. I do.
But how?
Cecilia searches her memory, but nothing comes. Then, suddenly, she remembers.
Oh, I know. It's her, from my dream.
What? What are you saying?
It's her, I tell you. It's her. The wolf.
please, let's not stand on ceremony. Eat. I don't think my wife will be joining us.
She never eats. I have not seen her eat a thing since we've arrived.
Oh, she's a very private person, Cecilia. She's accustomed to solitude. Having so many people around is too much excitement for her.
It's a bit gloomy here to call this excitement, don't you think?
Well, it's nothing like the Shropshire countryside, that's for certain. That's why it's been so delightful for me to have you here these past few weeks.
At least William's made himself at home. He's forever running around the woods behind the stream. Seems he can wander there for hours without getting bored.
Yes, he's constantly bringing me back some toad or flower that he's discovered. What an imagination.
But where is William? He should be back by now.
He'll be along soon. It's good for a boy his age to have a bit of freedom. Last I saw him, he was running across the field toward the woods.
I wish he wouldn't stray so far. Who knows what sorts of wild animals live in those woods?
Oh, I don't know that the forest is as wild as all that.
Still, I worry. I wish he wouldn't go so far.
But hours later, William has not returned. That night, everyone in the house goes into the woods in search of the lost boy. Everyone except Francesca, who remains in her oratory, performing her secret rituals.
William, dear!
My son! Where are you?
William, my boy!
After carefully searching the property near the house, the group agrees that they can cover more ground if they split up and search separately.
Charles and I will go to the field on the other side. I know William often played there, although I told him not to go so far.
Yes, Roberto and I will follow the river this way. And don't worry, we'll soon find our young adventurer.
He is a disobedient child, but full of pluck.
Oh, Charles.
Please, don't worry.
I promise I won't, and I'll even commend him for his pluck, as you say. Once he's safe again beneath our roof.
Cecilia and Charles walk off toward the fields, while Henry and Roberto follow the stream. It is almost midnight before they stop to rest.
Wherever can that boy have gone? Still, I'm sure he's fine, just lost.
Let's hope so, Signore. There have been strange goings on around the castle for ages now. Ever since the old master, the Marchesa's father, took residence here many years ago, and even after his passing.
What kinds of goings on, Roberto?
It pains for me to say, Signore. In the village, even infants left outside while their mothers do housework have disappeared from out of their cradles.
What?
And only last year, a boy around William's age was found.
Found how?
At the castle, the Marchesa said an animal got him, a wolf. But the villagers don't believe it.
But if not an animal, what then?
As I said, Signore, mysterious goings on.
Henry and Roberto pass through the darkest parts of the forest, heading toward the distant waterfall where he knows his nephew likes to play. True, it's far from the castle, and his parents have forbidden the boy to play there, but few children obey their parents all the time, even if perhaps those parents sometimes know best.
William!
William, can you hear me?
Henry stands still, waiting as the forest becomes silent, hoping to hear his nephew's voice. Instead, suddenly, the terrifying roar of a wolf shatters the silence of the night.
William!
This way, Signore!
While others might have turned away frightened, Henry and Roberto run deeper into the forest, racing toward the sound of the wild animal.
Uncle! Uncle!
Fear nothing, William.
We're coming!
Help me! Help me!
As Henry reaches the alcove in the forest beside the waterfall, he beholds an amazing sight. First, he sees his nephew William, his clothes torn from running through the branches, his face pale from lack of food and sleep. But the boy wears an enormous smile at seeing his beloved uncle.
Stay calm. I'm coming.
On the other side of the water, though, Henry beholds a truly horrifying sight. An enormous wolf. The beast seems larger than an ordinary wolf, more vicious and violent as it attempts to attack the young boy.
Please hurry.
Henry and Roberto rush forward, standing between a demonic wolf and the terrified child. Roberto holds only his lantern, but Henry picks up a large tree branch that lies at his feet and stands ready to fight off the beast. For a moment, the four figures, the boy, the men, and the wolf, stand absolutely motionless. After a minute that feels like a lifetime, the wolf rushes the boy.
Help! Help!
Henry and Roberto stand their ground, defending William with their very lives. Then it happens. The figure of a young woman, surrounded by a hazy white mist, appears in the moonlit night and approaches the wolf.
Uncle, what's going on?
Stay still, my boy.
Who's that lady?
It's going to be all right.
From inside the mist, the figure of a young woman emerges and stands firm before the demonic creature.
Let the boy alone.
The wolf continues to growl, but then the ghostly woman raises her hand and threatens the beast.
Leave them, I say.
At first, it seems to have no effect on the wild animal, but after a moment, the wolf growls one last time, bounds off, and disappears into the forest. William races into his uncle's arms.
You're safe now, my boy.
Oh, Uncle, but what happened?
I'm not really sure.
Henry turns to where an instant ago the mysterious young woman had stood, but she has disappeared.
The lady.
She's gone.
But who is she? I want to thank her.
I don't know, my boy. But surely one who wishes us well.
Back at the castle, William excitedly tells everyone about his encounter with the wolf. His parents are horrified at his danger and relieved at his rescue. Francesca, however, remains strangely silent. The next few weeks prove uneventful, as William, now always accompanied by Henry and Roberto, wanders around the countryside. Then the time comes for Henry's relatives to depart. Henry settles into the routine of the Italian countryside, hiking with Roberto and completing work around the estate. Francesca behaves affectionately, but spends most nights in private devotions. Time passes slowly, since none of the neighboring families visit. In time, however, wonderful news. Francesca is expecting, and then, just as summer turns to autumn, the Marchesa gives birth to their son, Michael. Henry's heart overflows with happiness as his newborn son fills him with joy.
He's beautiful.
Do not be silly, Henry. Of course he is beautiful. He is a baby. All babies are beautiful, at least for a time.
That may be, but he's our baby, don't you see? He's our son.
The arrival of baby Michael proves a bright spot in Henry's life, but his wife's strange behavior still worries him. Her late hours and mysterious comings and goings. He dares not complain, of course. After all, Francesca has warned him how their lives together would be, so her activities come as no surprise. Still, he feels melancholy and alone. One day, while riding with Roberto, inspecting some outbuildings near the pasture, his servant becomes serious and confidential.
There is something I must tell you, signore.
What is it, Roberto? You look worried.
I am. For some time now, I have been following the Marchesa.
You what? What do you mean doing something like that? Who gave you permission?
I realize I have exceeded my authority, signore. But first, before you condemn me, please listen to what I have to say. She goes wandering at night.
Out at night? Don't be absurd. Her health would never permit it. The chill would sicken her. And besides, there's the baby to care for.
Nevertheless, signore, she goes out. And I followed her into the woods. The woods where young Master William was lost. And, saints be praised, was found.
If she does go, what does she do?
Of that I cannot say. No matter how carefully I follow, I always lose track of her. She eludes me and disappears into the underbrush.
That's fantastic. I don't know what to say. When I ask her about this...
I don't think you should mention this to the Marchesa just yet.
Not mention it?
No, not until we understand what she does, where she goes.
What do you make of it?
I know nothing for sure. I only urge you to be watchful. For yourself, and especially for the little one.
Roberto's observations stoke Henry's curiosity. When he first arrived at the castle and noticed his wife's mysterious habits, he gave them little thought. Minor eccentricities. Still, she does spend much time alone, nights of secret vigils in her oratory. But after all, most married couples have private lives, though not always secrets. He felt little concern. After the encounter with the wolf, he listens more carefully when villagers and workers mutter about the castle and the Polioni family. One day, Roberto comes to him quite excited.
Signore, you know the old oratory in the tower, the chapel in which your wife secludes herself so often, where no man, not even her husband, dare accompany her.
Well, I know she enters the chapel alone, it's true.
That may be true, though whether it's the chapel or not, who can say?
What do you mean?
That it may be something darker. When I was repairing the outside wall on the far side of the tower, I came across a hidden passageway.
A passageway?
Yes, and it leads into a secret room, from an entrance long sealed up. When I discovered it, with a little bit of stone removed, I could see clearly inside her oratory.
And what did you see?
To tell you the truth, signore, not very much. It was very dark. If we were to look when the Marchesa has lit the lamps, though, we might learn much about her practices.
What do you mean, practices?
The villagers say...
Oh, no more hocus pocus, Roberto. You know I'm not superstitious.
Superstitious, no. But there are many things beyond the ken of mortal men. Many things.
Nonsense. Still, I would like to know how she spends her time in there.
That night, Henry and Roberto wait until midnight, after the household goes to sleep. Then they make their way silently to the passageway and look inside. At first, they can see nothing in the darkness. Time drags on as the minutes feel like hours. Then, after a while...
Quiet, signore! She comes!
In a moment, Francesca lights the lantern and bathes the oratory in a mysterious glow. From their vantage point, the intruders can see the entire room. Hieroglyphic figures on the wall, rich oriental carpets on the floor, golden lamps adorned with precious gems that glow in the ghostly light. The Marchesa seems alone, it's true, but she carries a basket. The sound of a baby's cry lets the observers know its contents.
What's that? It can't be. It's little Michael.
Quiet, signore. We mustn't let them know we're here.
Henry and Roberto watch carefully as the Marchesa approaches a stone altar that stands in the center of the room. The altar, also covered with hieroglyphics, holds a series of candles, which Francesca lights one after the other, giving an unearthly luminescence to the room. Above the altar stands the statue of an enormous figure, half human, half serpent. The lanterns and candles illuminate the walls and ceilings, and the shadowy light reveals their occult markings and magical symbols.
What can she be doing?
Only time will tell, Signore.
Francesca, Marchesa di Polioni, unveils her head, revealing her long, dark hair, ornamented with tiny jewels that glitter in the candlelight. She bows toward the statue above the altar and begins to recite.
O source of all my power and controller of my destiny, I have done as you asked. Here you see my beloved son, Michael, dear to my heart.
You have done well to obey me, Francesca, in bringing me the boy. You know what you must do now? Only his blood will satisfy the oath your father made to me long before you were born, an oath that you, since his death, must satisfy.
Oh, all-powerful, please, please, anything but that. I have already given you my hand as you demanded. Is that not enough?
At this, Francesca pulls up the sleeve of her left arm and reveals her gloved hand, holding it up into the candle's ghostly light. Slowly, slowly, she pulls the fingers and removes the glove.
But look! Her hand!
Wonders of wonders.
The glove falls from Francesca's fingers, revealing a horrible sight. No human hand at all, but an appendage covered with the skin of a snake, leathery and hard, unlike the skin of an ordinary snake. However, her hand glows iridescently with brilliant blues and greens, a sparkling red shimmer appearing now and again.
Heavens above! What can it mean?
It is as I feared, Signore. She's a lamia.
A what?
Part woman, part serpent.
Francesca holds her snake-like hand in front of the statue of the serpent, as though making an offering to the deity. Then a voice arises from within the statue.
You have given of your flesh, it is true, as did your father before you were born. Still, he swore an oath to give me the firstborn of his line, and that child lies here before me.
No, please, anything but my dear baby.
It is too late for bargaining, my slave. Your father sold your son long ago when he sought to obtain power for himself and his children. And you have enjoyed the profit of those powers, your ability to change forms, to travel at will, to commune with the dead.
Yes, I have these powers, it is true, but I have paid a terrible price for them. The bloody cravings that come upon me with the full moon, the wolf-like creature that I become when I feast, and the innocent lives that I take. It is a torment to me.
Your father's gift.
Rather, my father's curse. I was no party to his dealings with the undead, and yet I pay the price.
This is as it must be. The sins of the father are passed down to the sons. Or the daughters.
No! Set me free. I would rather die than go on living like this.
Death cannot free you now. Nothing will complete the covenant except the blood of your infant son, which you must shed for me.
Take my blood instead. My life, unhappy as it is, must have some value to you.
None but your son will satisfy this covenant.
Francesca removes Michael from the basket and lays the squirming infant on the altar.
See how beautiful he is. How perfect.
His perfection is what completes the covenant.
You must spare him.
Must? I think not!
The serpent statue shudders and its eyes glow fiery red as the stone figure comes alive. Transformed into an enormous creature, half human, half snake, it moves toward Francesca and grabs the Marchesa by her misshapen hand.
You are mine, as are all your kin!
Serpent and dupe! Serpent and dupe! Well, no longer.
You will never escape me!
No! Ah! Let me go!
We must stop this.
Your refusal to obey dooms you to your fate. Follow your father to the grave!
No! No!
Let's try to get in.
Mortals! How dare you intrude!
What is this?
Francesca turns to see her husband and his manservant burst into the cavern through the secret corridor. As they do, demonic voices grow louder and louder, and the serpent deity becomes furious.
Mortals, you have no place here!
Francesca, we're coming.
Not me! The baby! Save the baby!
I will cast you down!
As the demon speaks, however, the oratory fills with a glowing mist, white as snow and perfect as diamonds. Inside the mist stands the figure of a young woman. She moves slowly, majestically, taking form until she stands before them all.
What is this? You, again?
The beautiful apparition moves slowly toward the altar and takes hold of the infant. The serpent deity roars.
That child is mine! It is written!
Away. Go hence, I say. Away.
It is the lady from the forest.
Lillian! Lillian!
He's mine! I tell you!
You no longer have dominion here.
The iridescent female figure holds the baby close, then moves toward Francesca, who stands before her. Michael's mother breaks down in tears and addresses the spectral woman.
My baby! My baby! It matters not what happens to me, but please save him. I beg you.
Suddenly, something fantastic happens. Francesca begins to shake and convulse in a spasm, falling into a trance. An otherworldly expression comes over her face as her eyes stare blankly at the serpent deity. She seems almost to be pondering some great question about the nature of good and evil, especially evil. And then it's over. As she comes to herself, she looks at her arm and then realizes...
Francesca! Look! Your hand!
Her hand! The iridescent skin of her snake-like hand has disappeared. In wonder, Francesca looks down at the pale skin of her long fingers. The Lamia spell is broken.
I'm free!
Here, your son.
The spectral woman hands the infant to his mother, and Francesca reaches out her arms to take Michael from Lillian's spirit.
Take him. Carefully.
There, my little one. Everything is going to be all right. Now.
Francesca kisses baby Michael on the forehead and turns to look again at the spectral lady from the forest. She bows her head majestically.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have broken the covenant!
Francesca clutches the baby to herself and hurries toward Henry. Her husband pulls his wife and son into his arms and embraces them both.
Let's get out of here.
Yes, hurry.
I shall have my revenge!
As the demon approaches, the lady from the forest confronts it, blocking its path as the others flee.
The child is mine, I tell you!
A child's innocence vanquishes all evil.
We've got to keep going.
Roberto leads the way, forcing open the ancient door to the tower's secret passageway. Behind him, Henry follows, pulling Francesca, who holds their son. As they run, they can hear the demon roaring in fury.
You will never escape me!
Once out of the tower's evil oratory, the four of them flee as quickly as possible, stopping only when they reach the garden. A moment later, a blast of lightning comes down out of the sky and strikes the awful tower.
What's happened?
Justice and destiny.
It's gone. It's over.
There, little one.
We're all safe now.
From that safe distance, they look back to see the ghostly figure floating away.
Lillian, don't leave me.
I'll never leave you, Henry.
That woman.
We have seen her before.
Yes, in what seems like another life. But who is she?
Someone from my past, who has just ensured the happiness of my future.
We hope you enjoyed our latest episode of Tales from the Pennybloods, The One-Handed Lady. Carl Bankston played Henry, Summer Braley narrated, Shannon Stevens played the Demon, Jonathan Brandt played Roberto, Haley Carpenter was Lillian, Scott Davis played Charles, Clive Marlowe was the Stranger, and Camden Van Leeuwen played William. Felina Van Leeuwen was Cecilia, and Julia Warren played Francesca. Raymond Mankey and Eric Van Leeuwen voiced additional characters. Raymond Mankey engineered and mixed the show, which was written and directed by Arnold Anthony Schmidt. Thanks, as always, to James Costello, General Manager of Modesto's KCBP FM radio, for his enthusiastic support. You could listen to this and other episodes of Tales from the Pennybloods on Apple Music, YouTube, Spotify, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Mastodon, Pinterest, TikTok, and X. If you like our show, please visit our website at talesfromthepennybloods.org and subscribe. We'll keep you up to date on our latest episodes and blogs.